The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another exciting adventure here at TFNN. Another wonderful day. And of course, what else can you say? But I am on the road. If you've noticed a little difference with the video, I will be back, I think, in studio on next Monday. But I will be doing my show on the road these days. Anyway, another excellent day. Market is up, let's call it 10 points on the S&P cash. Volume is anemic, starting the show with just 2 billion shares on the New York Stock Exchange. So it is a tepid day for being up a little bit higher. But everybody just wants to buy. Anyway, we'll continue to take a look at what's going on in the market. But it's a kind of quiet day, certainly quiet volume. So why don't we just get this party started? And, of course, with a little history.
And it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
On this day in 1989, a new TV service premieres. Nothing had been on it, been on TV like it before or on cable. CNBC airs its first market broadcast. Within a year, they would have hit a pretty high level of viewers. Everybody starts looking at their 401k, decides that they're all going to be great investors, and watches it pretty much to 1998, and then maybe 2001. And probably the most interesting thing is that the amount of people that watch CNBC is almost the same as CBS. Now I don't. Almost the same as it is today. Its high water mark pretty much happened in 2001. And the retail investor has been kind of tepid. Those that stuck with it also, of course, ran into the debacle of 2007 and 2008. And the amount of people watching CNBC has never gotten back to the lofty levels of 1991. And we're under that right now. Give you an idea just how many retail traders are actually in the market. Other things going on today. In 1930, the stock market hits its post-crash high after the, what is that, November 13th low. It goes up 48%, but, that's 5 months, almost, 50% move off the crash. But guess what? Over the coming 2 years, the Dow will lose another 86% of its value. And a lot of times people will get the opportunity to get out, but they will never, ever take it. And that is the lesson to be learned on this day in 1930. When you get a chance to sell, do it. We talked about this on Friday and why it is just starting to actually put a little bit of news into some of the Brazilian stocks. It certainly has started to move the actual currency. The lower house has voted to impeach the previous president. I think she's a president. And, of course, along with the issues of having a Olympics in Brazil this summer and just about everything else going on, it probably couldn't happen at a worse time for them, especially with the declining price of crude over the last 6 to 9 months. The upper house is expected to go also impeach. So if you have any stocks like PBR, you might want to be looking and seeing how those react in the coming weeks. It is a mad market. and we're going to look at some of those. As we said, PBR Petrobras opened a little lower. Of course, I don't know if anybody actually expected any big deal to come between the Saudis and the Russians over the weekend. But the most ballyhooed meeting in a while had no bally and no who, just a what, and that is we aren't cutting production and we're going to keep it going. Most of the discussion that we've heard today centers around at least what the thought process is of the Saudi, and that is keep U.S. production off the market, and we'll, from time to time, skyjack the prices and make a bunch of cash when we can, and as soon as American production comes back on, we'll do it all over again. But so far, not much. Yeah. Is that like waterboarding? That's about it. We'll continue to keep an eye on the markets, but it's been fairly quiet. And like I said, volume is eking out the last 30, 45 minutes as we crested 2 billion shares on the New York Stock Exchange today. Other stocks of interest out here, ABX with news. This one kind of came off fairly quickly with some fairly decent news. Hang on a second. Barrick Gold, just watching that. There was some news out on it this morning. It's come down off its high, 1667, which is the April 12th high, back down to the low on Friday, which was 1510. A little higher on Friday and a little bounce today, but volume a little bit of anemic. Other stocks that had news out this morning, Anadarko. This one opened down to the gap, and actually, if the volume remains light, not bad looking out here. It gapped up on the 8th of April with about 6 million shares. We're back into it today with about 3 million shares. Went right down to the bottom and popped right back up. And of course, kind of a counter trend. If the crude goes down, Anadarko, of course, working on crack spreads, tends to go up a lot. AUI, also another gold stock out here. This one actually, for the months and months, about a year ago, people were calling in on this one. Not a lot of news lately on it, but one thing is you're back into the high of April 12th that had just shy of 27 million shares. Today with about, let's call it 10.8 million shares so far. So pushing those, you want to be watching a few of those out there today. CNH Industrial, which I think actually is one of the bigger, let's see, CNH, yeah, up 5% today. This had actually jumped a nice little gap. That gap was on, of course, the 1st of April. This gap down on 1.85 million shares. Today, 1 million shares. So you're going to need about another million before the end of the day to go into this gap that actually had 1.8 million shares on the 31st of March. So we'll keep an eye on that. Disney also was news. We'll be back to talk about that in a minute.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
And we're back. Walt Disney Company up a little bit, so let's take a look at this one and see. You know, you've got this big gap down that happened on the 15th of January. That was 22.4 million shares. Now we're right into that, and the candle above that had 11.6 million shares. So 7 million shares so far, a little less than 7 million shares so far is not a ringing endorsement of any of those days with energy. In fact, if you go to the spike up on January 22nd, you had 12 million shares. That being said, you've got this one bigger gap that runs up to about 105. And I think it was the Jungle Book that came out this weekend. I saw it had very good numbers. So it looks like maybe they've got a few other tricks up their sleeves, even if ESPN is doing poorly. But nice little move out here on a quiet day, which is just about everything. Devon Energy, and this one's, I've been watching this one as it approaches this gap down that happened on the 6th of January. That happened with 7.7 million shares. You know, we got about 8 million shares so far today. So you're into that gap. You got some fairly decent volume. You kind of spiked about halfway through it. And that's about it. You've had pretty good energy also off the bottom of this February 19th low. So not looking too bad. Got a little energy as it goes in there. And, of course, I suspect that means it's going to go try the 33.47 high that looks like the December 24th high. Hasbro now finally breaking out. Volume is fairly good. There was a gap down and, of course, a gap up into this July 20th high of 2015 at 84.42, 3.9 million shares. That's been acting kind of as resistance to the leg down for a while. Coming into Friday, you didn't have a lot of volume. In fact, this thing pushed up on 1.5 million shares. But, you know, you've got 2.8 now. You really need probably about 5 or 5.5 million shares by the end of the day. I suspect you are not going to get it, in which case this means it's probably going to come back and fill this gap up today fairly quickly. but we'll watch how it does the rest of the day. Intelsat. I'll look at something else. That doesn't interest me. KGC, a lot of these stocks are just under it. I've had some emails, and you can give me a call at 877-927-6648. You can also email me at path@tfnn.com, and you can put a message in the den if there's anything you want me to look at. And as I said that, Andy has some new articles out on crude and Doha, gold shares, natural gas, Caligula commodities, Asian contagion, Glencore selling agriculture at the bottom. Oh, what a lovely bunch of new articles from Andy. You can catch them at Seeking Alpha, our brother who does commodities. And what else do we have out here? We were looking at Kinross. Really no big trend changing out here so far. You just a little bit out here. You just really have to dislike the volume, though, the last 2 days. 8.8 million shares on Friday, today about 8.4. So you may have a little bit more volume out here today in this one. But keep an eye on it. Kind of looks like it's finished a ABC, the second, the D point in its ABC. Kite Pharma had some not so good news. And what do we have out here? Turn that off. Down on volume today. This thing's like a lot of stocks I'm looking at, which are, they're in a bigger trading range. This one could not get to the previous high of March 4th. It tried to do so on April 7th, but was a couple bucks late. And I don't know if you can say anything, but it is one of the stocks that's actually moving a deal, or quite a deal out here. And what can you say about it? Down with volume. The 2.6 or 2.7 million shares would go through that big candle of the 1st of March like a hot knife through butter. It's a little light, though, right now, so you want to watch that toward the end of the day. Medivation, this one's trying to get back through a great deal about what it's been trying to work through. It has not hit that high yet. The August 5th high of last year, 55.22, 1.8 million shares. And you've got a great deal more, though, going into that today. You got 4.7 million shares. So there's a few stocks that look like they could break out. Marathon Oil, of course, everything kind of gapped lower. It's kind of come back higher. There's a nice gap. Let's go back here and look at it. That came with 9.5 million shares. With 18 today, I don't think that actually poses much of an issue. You've got a bunch of little gaps up here. I don't see a real distinct area where Marathon would go to, though. Network Appliances in TAP, a little gap down here. Volume not all that exciting today. 3.4 million shares compared to the, let's take a look at it here. Maybe you had 5 million shares on this big day on February 12th at $20.89. And I don't know if there's anything else you can say about it other than that. And that is, you're on your halfway down point. This thing, if volume really would have shrunk out here, you could have made a claim that this was doing an ABC. SBGL, Sibian Gold, still looks like it's in its uptrend, although it has kind of broken in the last 2 days just below that level. But no volume so far, so you have to be looking at that. Volume may come in later, though, but take a look at it. Now, for stocks that have truly broken with the trend, Sony Corporation, if you missed it, Japan was off about 3.5% last night and into this morning. Down with some fairly decent volume, but it has broken a fairly decent trend. Tried to get back up to it mostly through the trading as it opened up lower, but I don't think there's a lot more you can say about it other than that. What do we have here? We've got about a minute. So Union Pacific. Now, here's where some of these stocks are starting to look like they are in trouble. UNP has had a very long ride above the 9-day moving average. It's had 5 or 7 days below it. It moved back above it, and now it's just above it out here. Any kind of move out here would probably be a general failure. I don't see anything changing in the business that is the train business anytime soon. I think this thing could be in a fairly nice trading range to take from that 67.06 low with heavy volume that has not been tested back to January 21st. Anyway, we'll be back in a minute. Make sure and give me a call, 877-927-6648. Email me at path@tfnn.com or post a message in the den.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN and you'll find the Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now. Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Directions Daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And we're back. We've got the IBB, and Ken in Wyoming wants to get a sell target on it, I guess, to sell it short. It has not been all that exciting. One of the few stocks that has not had some decent energy on the way up, or at least ETFs. It's very interesting. Of course, politically, there's going to be a wet blanket on this sector all the way through the election, and maybe after it, depending on who wins. But you had a test almost of the lows. That $240.03 low of February 9th had 3.5 million shares. You got into $241.85 on March 17th, and pretty good, right? You know, what you really need, though, is something in the neighborhood of about 6 million shares. Now, you spiked into a little gap that was left over. That gap was left over from, when is that? The 14th, that had 4.4, so it's not a high volume gap. So I'm not too worried about it, but it kind of looks like the level where there was a lot of congestion and consolidation going on from about the 14th, 13th of January through the 25th, maybe 26th, yeah, before it fell off. That is you're going against all these people that bought in here that wanted their cash back now. You know, I don't know if there's anything a whole lot left in this one. It is one of the ones at least hasn't had tremendous volume. You did have one sign of strength, and that was on the 6th of April. That came with 6 million shares. But I don't know if there's enough in there to really say, hey, you got it. But I think you got one more test of that 240 coming. So probably not a bad $50 probably a range, but I think you'd need, I want to see this thing get up to 290 and have a very light volume. Unfortunately, it's probably going to have news out of left field, and the whole thing's just going to blow up. I don't see anything in the charts of the individual stocks that gives me a lot of heads up about when that would be. I'd say look at this thing again at 290 and see if it still hasn't had another sign of strength. You're probably, you know, just above that consolidation range is where this thing is probably going to spike through and then close lower on the day, and then that would probably be your best chance. But you still need to look at it. You can be like Ken in Wyoming. Email me at path@tfnn.com or just send me a email. Let's see what we have in my list of stuff out here. Bancorp South was looking at some of these banking stocks. This one's going up against the March 4th, 2016 high, 21.95, 760,000 shares. You know, you had 600,000 shares on probably what passes for a sign of strength in the financial markets these days. April 13th, you know, 626,000 shares. Since then, it's just been going sideways on declining volume, 135,000 shares today. Caterpillar, we'll take a quick look at this. Now, this one looking very interesting to me. A lot of discussions about how this is all back and everything's back to normal in this. I don't know. It seems to me like maybe a lot of cost cutting has come into Caterpillar. I don't see everybody building a new road or a new building using Caterpillar equipment. But this thing has gotten back up to where its real problem days were. And that goes back to, what is this, July 22nd, July 23rd. This thing came down with some 10, 13 million, you know, shares, and which started the whole kit and caboodle. You still have a fairly decent high volume low that is untested. That's the January 20th at 56.36. To me, this is another great stock that I would love to see break below, break back above, and then the next close below give me an indication that these stocks and the parabolic move in most of them is over. Continental Building Products, CBPX, has been on a tear since its low at 1325. That takes us to January 20th and up here to the high, April 18th. I don't know what else you can say about it other than it looks pretty good. But any close below that 9-day, and my guess is that you're going to see some trouble. The last high volume day was March 15th. That had 2.5 million shares. And that probably sets up your trading range from about I don't know, $20 back down to what is the low of the day there? 1633. Let's see what else is on my list of stuff. COF. And this one, of course, is back like a lot of these tapping these gap down days. This goes back to the 4th of January. That gap down had 3.6 million shares. On Thursday, 2.8. On Friday, 2.8. Today, just 1 million shares as it's pushing back into this doji that gapped down on the 4th. Went all the way back down to 58.49. Did test the previous low, but did not pierce it and then come back in it. And that kind of signals that we have some bigger trading ranges, or at least the possibility of some large trading ranges going on. Barracuda Networks has been one of these that's kind of the little engine that could. I think I can. Not a whole lot, but it was $9.94 on February 9th, 1601, excuse me, on April 14th. And just kind of light and variable. The thing just continues to drift up. Acts like mini stocks that are just highly or too highly short. Let's see, what else do we have out here? Let's take a quick look at Garmin. I haven't had a chance to look at this one. And in the meantime, we'll get back to the markets out here. Okay, dollar is off a quarter today at 94.45. S&P's up almost 12 points now. Let's call it 2.23 billion shares. So volume very, very light. And man, if this thing sneaks up on 2,100 with no volume like this, then we do have a setup that would be problematic. Okay, Garmin. Been watching this stock for a while since it gapped down. I was hoping it would come back and fill at least partially this gap. This happened on, July 16th of 2015, down with, call it 11 million shares that day. That gap has remained open for a while. What this one is doing is acting extremely weak as it's going through the March 1st attempt for a high. That had 7.1 million shares on the 17th. You tried to retest that on March 1st. That had 1.7 million shares. And you're up in here with about 2.2 million shares on the far right shoulder with very light volume.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
If you're looking to discover a new financial resource and diversify your financial portfolio, don't miss out on the Market Safe Commodity Solution CD from Everbank. This is the second running of their popular 5-year US dollar-denominated CD, which gives you exposure to 8 equally weighted commodities, including WTI crude oil, gold, silver, copper, nickel, soybeans, corn, and sugar. With annual pricing caps of 70% per component, you could earn up to 70% upside payment at maturity if the commodities increase in value across annual pricing dates. And should the opposite occur, your principal is 100% protected. Keep in mind, returns are based on CD performance. There's no annual percentage yield or periodic rate of interest on this indexed CD. Don't miss out. Take advantage of this financial resource designed to grow with the times. The May 19th funding deadline is quickly approaching. So hurry over to everbank.com/TFNN for the CD's term sheet and other important product details and disclosures. Once again, that's everbank.com/TFNN. This advertisement is sponsored content. Everbank is a member, FDIC.
John Logan has just announced that he is hosting a workshop Wednesday, April 20th for all TAS Profile Scanner Plus subscribers, opportunities in the current market, and strategies to profit. In this hour-long workshop, John Logan will use the TAS Profile Scanner Plus to give you a current breakdown of the sectors in the market and the opportunities that are present, as well as providing subscribers with the best strategies to trade with to profit when using this powerful piece of market scanning software. Right now, you can sign up for the TAS Profile Scanner Plus at the front page of TFNN.com. The TAS Profile Scanner Plus is such an amazing piece of software that we're even offering a no-questions-asked money-back guarantee for all new paying subscribers. Don't delay, as John Logan's subscriber event is coming up soon. Sign up now for the TAS Profile Scanner Plus and be up and running within minutes using this powerful piece of market scanning software. With a 30-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to lose. Sign up today.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
And we're back. And let's see, West Texas 39.71, down just 1.6%. Brent 42.82, off 28 cents, down 0.6%. And nat gas $1 and 93. Let's call it 94 cents. Up 2%, but still under that $2 mark for a while now, which is very interesting. Let's see if there's anything else going on. Last time I looked at gold, it was flat, and it's still flat, off at 50 cents. Silver off 8 cents. Copper off a penny. And let's see if there's anything else out here. I think that's about it. A lot of people probably looking at the close today on the Dow Jones, whether or not they can reclaim 18,000. Why is that important? Well, since they pushed bats out last Friday, Wall Street is got a line of pretty big dogs setting up to try to push out into this market. Most of what bats did was rigged. And by rigged, I meant that when they tried to go public a few years ago, they were going to issue 1 billion shares at the beginning, or $1 billion worth of shares. They only did about 275 million on Friday. So about a fourth of the original move. And of course, that is kind of the way Wall Street works, which is they want to make everybody think that everything is perfect. Everybody's throwing money at the world. BAT's not a bad company. I don't know how in the world you would even ever value it. I would let the market do it first before I ever got in it. But fairly interesting. Well, guess what? The couple of the ones that we talked about last week, they look like they're going to try to push out this week. And we could see kind of a light and variable, light volume holdup if what the street is really doing is just trying to set up some big paydays out here before the end of the week. It doesn't always mean that all stocks go higher. But it looks to me like probably the best thing that they could do for a advertisement of a bull market is push this up past the 2100 level. But man, is volume light. Of course, today is options rollover. I don't put a great deal in what happens today until I see what happens tomorrow. A lot of times, if they push the market up today, they'll push it down an equal amount tomorrow as they roll positions in and out against those options that they sell the option market makers. So, especially with 2.3 billion shares as we go in almost to the end of the show, we got about 15 minutes left. Just don't see a great deal out here that interests me at the moment. Anyway, we were looking at Garmin, and, it looks like this thing might have just a little bit gas left in the tank, but man, looks to me like there's some low-hanging fruit out there on that one. Goldman Sachs, this one basically had a gap that goes back to February 1st, actually. When we look at this one, the volume really came off on the 2nd of February with about 6.3 million shares. The previous high had 4.8 million shares. You got into it with 3.4 million shares. Moved down on Friday. Volume was okay, 3.4 million shares. Today, trying to go a little higher from a lower open, 2.2 million shares. So I continue to see some stocks that are at probably best troublesome. Let's see what else we have out here that needs my watchful eye. I looked at iRobot for a while. This thing has been on a tear also. Other than a couple of days where it did close below the 9-day moving average, this thing is trying to ride it. Unfortunately, volume is very light in this one. On March 17th, you had 420,000 shares at $36. Trying to go into that today with 137. This is a right-hand side of the chart is light and variable and not a lot of volume. Unless they have a new product, that Roomba seems to be getting a little bit old. JC Penney, we talked about this one looking actually fairly decent as a buy signal last week. What you want, though, is I want this to get at about $9, and it hasn't done that so far. You gapped up with a sign of strength on the 29th of February that had 38.6 million shares. You've had a nice ride back down in here to fill this gap. You may not get the whole gap filled, but I'd love to see this at $9 on very light volume, and that might set up a buy pattern on that. We talked about Caterpillar. Let's take a look at Joy Global. This one is another one up here on very light volume. The heavy day out here was 8.4 million shares on the 13th, but we go back to March 4th, $18.88, 12 million shares puts you right in the line of fire of this last major high with, like I said, what is it, 3.4 million shares so far. It doesn't seem a rousing endorsement. Krispy Kreme is trying to fill this gap. Coming back on this one is the September 10th of last year. This thing was blown apart on that day. 9 million shares down. It tried to get back into it with 600,000 shares on March 18th. Back into it again with, what do we have? 580,000 shares yesterday. 580,000 shares on the 13th. Today, back and filling it with 226,000 shares. Why I don't share short stocks below $30 as almost a biblical rule, man, you've got to look at this one as being one of the weakest moves out here, at least at higher volume. Took a look at Leapfrog. That hasn't done much lately. Let's move on to Lilly. And then liquid liquidators. Eli Lilly pretty much looks like the IBB. I was looking at these this morning. Basically, you're going through the candle of the 26th of February that had 4.8 million shares, doing that with about 2.4 million shares so far. So it's pretty tough for me to get too excited about these biotechs up on light volume, back into resistance levels. And it continues to be a problem. Lumber liquidators trying to make a bottom out here. What you have to dislike is that it blew apart the January 20th low at $10.53 with 1.8 million shares, with 6.5 million shares on January 29th. And you have not come back and tested that $10 low. I suspect on the next test, that thing may actually be a screaming buy. If the economy is okay. So what else do we have out here? MDP. Does this look kind of interesting? Meredith Corporation. Eli Mike. Let's take a look at 3M, Minnesota Mining. Of course, a perennial favorite of folks when things get weak. We'll look at this a little bit more when we come back. Very interesting. Just about, 60, 70 cents off of its high. We'll take a look at that when we come back. Yes, go nuts. Mm-hmm.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge, heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And back. We were looking at Minnesota mining when we left. This thing has had a roaring time since making a low and going above the 9-day moving average back on the 26th of January. Talk about a run of a little bit more each day, other than one day out here that looks like it closed below it on the 11th of February. This thing has pretty much been able to ride this to the top. What you have seen, though, is volume really start to fall off. That started on the 7th of April and just has been moving off today. Fairly light volume, again, 740,000 shares. This one would probably be maybe $9 down here. I think you could see a fairly quick move down to the, March 1st level, about, 158? What is that? What's the close on that day? 159.59. So we can continue to look at that. Again, you've got, let's see if I have anything else out here. Look at Microsoft. Got a request to look at Microsoft out here. Well, that is very interesting. $56.85 back on December 29th. Well, 41 million shares. Today, getting into that candle, not pierced it yet, but man, is it close. 16 million shares today. Overall volume has been off about 15% on this leg up from January 8th compared to the leg down starting on December 29th. You know, you're going to need 41 million shares from that December 29th high. And you can kind of see that this thing spiked with 83 million shares on February 1st. And it's kind of had a tough time going through that one also. But we'll say just being the least conservative, that December 29th, 41 million shares, still just with 16 million shares out here today. This doesn't look like there's a lot of juice left in Mr. Softy out here. See what else do we have out here. I haven't looked at QLogic for a while, so let's pull that up. I don't see much in that one. What else do we have out here? We got time for one more maybe, and I want to get into that. TXN. Let's take a quick look at that. A lot of these had high volume in the last high, just like Microsoft. Texas Instruments, no difference. But your absolute high was March 2nd, 2015 at $59.99. That had 6.4 million shares. You got into it with 14 million shares on October 23rd. So you knew, even though this thing sold off, that you were going to get one more chance up here, a bite at the apple. If you went with the 6.4 million shares, you're still going to be a light unless this thing gets up and pierces it. You certainly were in the candle. A little pullback today on light volume. I wouldn't say pull the trigger just yet. Imagine you get one more. But a lot of patterns out here, just like this in the tech sector. And do I have time for the SMHs? SMH. To take a quick look. This is even a little weaker than some of the others. Energy from this February 11th low to the April 13th high was about off about 25% from that December 9th high to the rocket down of January 20th. So semis, technology, still probably taking a breather. Financials look like they're going to try to pick up some of it. And crude, even with lower crude, looks like everybody wants to be in crude. We'll see you tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time. So when you can, not when you have to. Hang on for Tom O'Brien.
TFNN has just announced a new Tiger Dollar sale that will run through this coming Monday only. It's tax day on April 18th, and what better time to lock in extra savings on any TFNN good or service with the purchase of Tiger Dollars. From now through April 18th only, we've doubled the bonuses that normally come with any Tiger Dollar purchase. Instead of a 10 to 20% bonus, we've doubled each number, and you can now get a 20, 30, or 40% bonus on whatever you spend. Tiger Dollars never expire and can be used for any TFNN good or service. Once you purchase your Tiger Dollars and receive your 20 to 40% bonus on whatever you spend, you can then apply them to your subscriptions going forward, as well as any course, workshop, or service that we offer at TFNN. Don't forget that tax day falls on April 18th this year, and now is the perfect time to get your Tiger Dollars. For all the details and to get your Tiger Dollar bonus today, visit the front page of TFNN.com now.
You're watching Tiger TV.